Like a knife, you and I need to sharpen our discernment skills. Welcome back to Wretched, taking a look at some scenarios, very real scenarios, and they're going to start increasing in their complexity to try to determine how now should we judge this. Here's scenario number 7. On Sunday, your faithful Orthodox pastor preaches, "I believe in Jesus, but if you believe that the flying spaghetti monster is God, that's cool. What do you do?" Well, this would be a little bit different than his belief that Jesus descended into hell before he rose from the dead. Now you got yourself a bullseye essential issue. You have got something that hits square into orthodoxy. And if somebody is off on that, yikes, they're a heretic. However, even though the pastor let a Lulu fly, I also remember, hey, wait a second. I know the seminary this guy went to. I've seen this guy. I've known him for 12 years. I've been going to this church. He baptized me, and he said that. So now I've got a big issue that needs to be approached. I must address this because it's essential. But he's a professing brother. How do I do that? This from chapter 3 of Judge Not. You should lovingly approach him, assuming that he's still taking Percocet, prescribed after his root canal surgery. If he apologizes and corrects his error, then you just move on. If he insists that belief in the spaghetti monster is as valid as believing in Jesus, then you lovingly rebuke him, preferably with other witnesses. You got to assume something's off with the guy. Why would he say such a radical thing? I'm hoping for the best. I'm cheering for the guy. Lo and behold, he's a little bit dippy on his dental medication from the root canal. That explains everything. Off we go. Should he decide to get adamant about this and all of a sudden he becomes the president of the Flying Spaghetti Monster Club, when you Google him, of course, when the meeting is over, then you bring it to your elders because you're dealing with an elder and you want to do that lovingly, respectfully with others. Here's scenario number 8. You hear about a faithful pastor in Tupelo, Mississippi, man, who disqualified himself by having an affair. Do you share the information with others? Do you blog about it? Do you read all the gory details online? I don't think so. There's no reason to share bad news that benefits nobody. Unless you happen to be from Tupelo, man, and, well, frankly, not many people are. That's why Elvis moved to Memphis, man. It's really none of your concern or mine. You have a purview. You have a realm of concern. It is most certainly your local church. It could also be the church down the street. You know some people who go there. It's your town. There's people talking about it. You want to contribute. You want to be helpful. You've got something you can add. You can maybe help with some healing. Okay, you could possibly talk about the scandal down the street. But in Tupelo? Do you know the pastor? Have you talked to him? Did you talk to his wife? Did you talk to the woman that he had an affair with? Did you talk to the elders who worked through this with him? Are you even a member of the church? No. So it is none of your concern, nor is it any of my concern. Is there anything I should be considering when scandalous stories like this break? Yeah, a couple of thoughts. Here's number 1. If a scandal involving a pastor you don't know is not in your church or zip code, don't even read the scandalous details, let alone share the details with others. Realm of concern, your purview, your responsibility does not include Tupelo. Consideration number 2, if a scandal involving a famous pastor, that's different, becomes national news, then I have permission to discuss. All right, we're just going to stop right there. This is a scandal, not with a pastor from Tupelo. Nobody knows his name outside of that city. You'd be making news. You'd be breaking news. You'd be sharing news. This has already been made news, and this is a little bit tricky. Notice what I wrote in the book, Judge Not. It becomes national news. When does a story become national news? You've got to watch that carefully. If it's a little thing here, a little thing there, it could be that your posting, your blogging, your commenting could spread the story, and that isn't helpful. So try to figure out as best you can, has it made it to the New York Times is writing about it? That would be a good tip. Then you have permission to discuss the situation. Here's a little caveat. If I genuinely have something to contribute to the situation, if it's nothing more than you don't need to say a word. Can you say something helpful? Nobody else has thought of this. You bring a new perspective. You bring a word of comfort, an encouragement, a defense, whatever it is. Okay. I can also carefully share this information with someone who should be warned. You know somebody who's following the teacher? You want to let them know, I'm sorry, but your teacher, they kind of, and you should know about that because you probably shouldn't. Okay, if it's helpful, that is a rule of thumb. If it's helpful, it meets some of those other criteria, then I talk about it. If it doesn't, I don't. Here is scenario number 9. You hear a sermon or read a book by a known charlatan. Don't know why you're reading that book. Feel free to go after him or her. But might I suggest that the focus of your ministry or life should not be exposing every false teacher you discover. Every Christian's focus should be Jesus, not false teachers. Notice the difference? You know that everybody knows this dude is or dudette is bad. They say something bad, can you contribute? Is it helpful? Does it warn people? Look, if it's just, bing, using them like a piñata, we got to be very, very careful about that. But if it can be helpful, if it can sound the alarm on this person, then do that. But just make sure that doesn't become your focus. We should be discerners, but that's not all we should be. In fact, might I suggest be very careful that you don't follow blogs that only do discernment. That's all they're about. They do nothing else. We should all be about Jesus, and that includes discerning. But when all we're doing is just and zing and getting and catching, then we're off focus. I'm not saying that they're sinning. We're just off balance because we want to be discerners, but more than that, we want to be, Christians.